Hey, welcome to AI Unleashed. We have an exciting tool to review with you today. This tool is called Roshi, and it allows you to create learning material from anything online instantly. I want to get right into it, but before we do that, I want to announce we're a new channel just starting out, so please like, subscribe, forward the link to folks that you think will benefit from this information. We plan on doing more frequent videos on groundbreaking tools, and this is certainly one of them. So imagine being able to pick any news article from the web or from your own text and create a lesson with it. With a single click, you can summarize, you can have vocabulary sections and questions all extracted from an article. You can automatically simplify the text to make sure it's just at the right level. So if your text is this long, it could be simplified into 1 or 2 sentences. And you can also create questions based on exactly what you're teaching. So you can have a question generator that says, hey, generate 3 questions focused on a specific grammatical topic. Lastly, this tool provides text analysis. Now, this is a company from Canada, so the education levels and benchmarks are based on the Canadian education system. And so this text analysis talks about some performance based on the content that you submit that we'll talk about a little bit more in detail. Let's get into it. So to create your first lesson, before I start there, if you do not have an account, you can create one in this upper right hand corner. You can log in, and we're using the free account, and I'll talk about the pricing model towards the end of the video. So the question is asked, what would you like to create? You can create a lesson. You can create an illustrated story. You can create dialogue, which is in beta, or you can create content from scratch. Let's create a lesson, and then you get another question that says, what would you like to base it on? So you can pick an article from our feed, right? And so you can see there's a bunch of articles here that we can reference to generate lessons from. So you can just imagine the possibilities if you'd like to do that. You can link to any article from the web. So you would enter a URL if you wanted to do that. Or you can use a link to a YouTube video, which is the option I want to choose for this demo. So one of the prerequisites is that the YouTube or the video YouTube link that you would use must have English subtitles enabled. So if it doesn't have subtitles enabled, you're not going to be able to extract data from that video. So let's enter a URL here. Since this is an AI learning channel, let's provide some AI content. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So Google Cloud a few months ago did a talk on an intro to generative AI. And so that is what I'd like to create a course with. So as you can see, it plops the video right in. You click generate lesson, and you will be brought up to this modal that says, hey, I want 3 activities. So what it's giving you is 3 activities under 3 areas. So text comprehension, vocabulary, and discussion. I would definitely like to add true or false, so I'll keep that one selected. I do want to fill in the blank in my course material, so I'll select that one. And then I want, let's go with fact-based multiple choice and generate our lesson. As you can see, once you pick the 3 activities under the 3 sections, the others are grayed out, and you select Generate Lesson. Now, from my experience using the tool, the preparing portion of this takes anywhere from 30 seconds to 1 minute, which is pretty crazy if you ask me. That's fantastic. Let's talk about some of the notifications that you're getting here. Since we're using the basic version, you see that it says you only get 300 words. Turns out that this video that I have selected has 2,965, so we're only going to focus in 300 words for this course because, again, free version. And it's done already while I was talking. I mean, that was less than a minute. So let's take a look at the output. So you can see the video with the link, the text here with the source, the questions that will be made, will be created for our course material. So they only gave us 3, and we're going to talk about that. The other activity we selected was vocabulary. You can see that they gave us 5 terms and their definitions. Comprehension. This was comprehension under the multiple choice option, and so they gave us 3 questions there with 4 options. And then lastly, comprehension, where we fill in the blank, which is a nice way to test your participants, to have them type in the content. Of course, you being the instructor, you'll need the key for your reference, and so that's always good to have if in case you don't know all the answers, so that's good to have. So let's go behind the scenes and dig into the lesson, because just because they gave you the output this way doesn't mean you need to keep it that way. You can customize this and slice it and dice it any way you want. So let's go to the top. The first thing you want to do is obviously name your lesson. So we know that this is, I guess we can call this Introduction to Generative AI. And this could be course 1. We'll hit confirm, and that will give our course a title. As you can see here, it recognizes this as a YouTube video. You can move this down, so if you don't want this to be the first thing that they see, you can move it down. In this case, it kind of works because that's what we want our participants to reference, and so you can delete that as well. The text area. So as I mentioned, you're going to get a summary text that could be modified or kept. It's up to you, and this is where having that flexibility to be able to slice it and dice it as you wish is an option. Again, since we're using the free version, we're limited to 300 words, and you can see we have 101. Over here, it's telling me 15 plus words needed for text analysis. So let me see if I can add a few more words here and see if we can bring up the text analysis view, because that is what I want you to see to let you know how complex your course material is. So let me add that in. I'm doing a cut and paste job here. And as you can see, this estimated text complexity grid pops up onto the screen, and so I want to talk about some of these values that you see here. You get the average sentence length. Okay, don't know how useful that is, but it's certainly something that you can reference. They have a value here called the CEFR level, and again, I told you that this company is based in Canada, so if you're going to use this tool, you need to be comfortable with the Canadian educational standards, because they're referencing this in terms of the complexity. And so CEFR stands for the Common European Framework. It is a reference for languages. It is used widely as a framework to describe language proficiency levels. And so this particular content, which is artificial intelligence, is certainly not for the faint of heart, was rated a C2, which is the highest level. The beginner is A1, so that's the lowest. A2 is elementary, and then it jumps to B1, which is intermediate. B2 is upper intermediate, and then C1 is advanced, and then C2 again is the highest, and that's the proficient. That's kind of grading at the highest proficiency level. And again, this is something that you can search online for more information on the CEFR levels. The next item is known as the is called the CLB, and that stands for the Canadian Language Benchmark. And so that's again another framework used to describe and measure English language proficiency for adults. All right, those CLB levels range from C1 to 4 being beginner or basic. CLB 5 to 8 is intermediate, and CLB 9 to 12 is the highest level. And again, as you can see, from a complexity level, this is rating out as the highest. Again, artificial intelligence is not for the faint of heart. You can also see they've given you a difficult word count. You can see that they've identified 6 words here that are difficult. They're showing you that audio, synthetic, data, autonomously, subfield, and unsupervised are difficult words, probably needing some sort of definition. So we've got our vocabulary section down below. Maybe we want to use some of these difficult words for that. So this is a great way to understand that, hey, this is maybe something I want to highlight in another area for education. And the last piece is called the Gunning Fog Index. I know that sounds funny, but basically it's a formula, and you don't need to know the formula, but it's a readability metric that assesses the complexity, right? So how complex is the thing that or the content that you're providing for your audience? And so this, you can use some baselines and say, you know, I've done some high degree of complexity. If you see this number being high, that means high degree of complexity. The lower number is low degree. So this kind of gives you a measurement of how complex the information that you're providing. As described earlier, you can modify this text, right? If this original text is too long or too complicated, you can adjust the difficulty. And so remember we saw those standards of A1 to A2. If we want to kind of bring that down a notch, we select that. If we want to kind of keep it in that intermediate, you know what, let's kind of simplify this a little bit. Maybe we're teaching some folks that are intro, so let's adjust the difficulty to A1 to A2. And let's see, summarize, paraphrase. Yeah, let's just do that and see what we get. We'll hit submit. And as you can see, it summarizes the information, making it simpler. And so we're not going to read all through this, but it essentially adjusted the difficulty to change from C2 to A1 to A2, and that was if you remember, that was the CEFR framework referencing for beginner, intermediate, and proficient. Okay, so that's we can save that and go back, and let's continue. Now, remember, we had these sections for comprehension. We can move them up, we can move them down, we can delete them, we can add instructions for our participants, we can change the question, we can delete the question, right? It's showing us the answers here. We can add another question with this plus sign, so a lot of flexibility. The UI interface is pretty minimal, and that's beautiful, easy to read, easy to understand. Let's go to vocabulary. So as you can see, they gave us 5 vocabulary options with definitions. What if you want to add your own? You can do that. You can add a particular item, so you can type in the term and put in the definition what you know that to be, and you can add audio for that if you want. But say you're unsure of what you want to add and you want the program to reference the video and make a logical choice on vocabulary to add, and that's where you'd hit this auto generate vocabulary items. And so we'll hit that, and it will give an additional few options for vocabulary. Now it seemed to duplicate the same one here, so I definitely don't need that one, but it added traditional AI systems, so that's good. I'll keep that one. This one looks to be the same, generative AI, so let's get rid of that. Or you can add audio to this, right? So you can generate audio, you can record audio, or you can upload your own audio for these as well. So a lot of flexibilities and options on the vocabulary section. And this button does the same as the add audio. Now, if you remember, we had the comprehension area. We asked it to give us multiple choice. So same drill here. You can add instructions, move up and down, delete, and you can see the answers here. All right, so this is a great multiple choice. Again, we're only getting 3 because we're using the free version. And then lastly, we had our comprehension section that was the fill in the blanks, where we have 5 questions that were extracted from the tool, and you can see that you can do the same thing here. You can delete, add questions, and all that could be done here. So really slick tool. So now that we've made all of our changes, we can print or we can share it out. But the first thing we want to do is save our changes, right? So any change that we made, we make sure we save that. For the purposes of this demo, let's create a link. And so let's copy that. And now we're ready to show what the end user, or in this case your course participant, would see. So let's open up another browser window here and load the session. And this is what your participants will see: the title, the video, the text, the source, the actual text as you wrote it with the updated, easier summary, the actual questions, right? Unsupervised models have labeled data true or false. We know that to be false, so we pick that, and so you can see it gives you the green answer for that. And so this is real time, so it doesn't wait to the end of the exam. You're actually selecting your options and you're getting the answers real time. So this is a neat feature. I would like to show you a case where you don't pick the right choice, what happens, so we'll do that down below. You get your vocabulary, so you can see we've got our extra item added, generative AI, traditional AI systems, I think was the one that was added. And then here's our multiple choice, right? So in this case, let's select the wrong option and see what happens. Let me pick one of these that is definitely wrong. And as you can see, when you pick the wrong answer, it lets you know what you picked, but it will also show you the right answer. And so in this case, what is the main difference between unsupervised and supervised machine learning? And you can see that the supervised models have labeled data. And so that's a great option to see real time. And then same thing with the fill in the blank. You're able to, let's type in the wrong answer. So I'm just going to write testing. We know that that's not the right answer. You hit check and it says, hey, nice try. The correct answer is supervised. So as you can see, this is a very useful tool, really well laid out, and something I think that it took me originally 5 minutes. I know this is a longer video, but I'm taking you through step by step. I want to talk about the pricing. So as a free user, which is called basic, it's no money, of course, and it's for educators who only, want to make small lessons, activities every once in a while. You get limited to 5 lessons per month, 300 words. So you saw that that was a little short for that 20-minute video we had, and only 5 sections per lesson. So somewhat rigid, but if you're only using this every once in a while, that's a great option. If you're an educator who regularly creates customized material for the classes, well, you can use the yearly option. You get billed annually, $14 a month, and you can create as many lessons as you want. You can use longer texts to create lessons up to 1,500 words, and you can add as many activities as you want to each lesson. And if you're an organization, there's a group deal with specific needs, and you need to collaborate, so you can share lessons across teams, which is really good if you've got a group of teachers that you work with, or teammates, and custom features. They have billing per feature, and then obviously you'll be on the beta list for any early access to new features. So this is Roshi. It's free to use, available right now. And that's it. If you like this type of content, let us know in the comments, like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.